Scott Layton here. As you know, if you've lived in America in the past year, things have gotten progressively worse. And as my title attests, America, I think we're screwed. To that end, I've decided to do something about it for myself personally. And today, November 3rd, 2025, I have retired from my job, my full-time job. And I plan to work on my YouTube channel full-time. In addition to that, I am moving to Albania. So the purpose of today's video is just to talk about my reveal, what I plan to go and do with my channel, what I plan to do with my life, and also just discuss some of the things we're facing today in America and why I want to leave. So there's a lot here. I wanted to do this video in one go. I wanted to do this without a script because I've been answering the questions enough. I'm comfortable with the content, but it's such a difficult subject because so many people right now in America are really, really scared. At this point, the shutdown has been going on for over a month. Many people are afraid of where their next meal is going to be coming from. Most people haven't got their SNAP benefits in a month since the beginning of October. And those are just some of the issues we're facing today. So a lot of why I'm moving has to do with what's happening in America currently. And I'll explain why I'm planning to move to Albania. I have a little cheat sheet. Didn't create a script, but I did create a cheat sheet. So let's talk a little bit about why I'm moving. And then I'll get into specifically why Albania next. I am 55, as I said. I could work for the next 7 to 12 years, but with the increasing changes happening in America right now, our quality of life is only getting worse. And if you go grocery shopping, if you've had to pay any medical bills recently, amongst anything else, the rent, utilities, you know what I'm talking about. There has been a full frontal attack on the middle class and lower classes in America right now. And I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon, unfortunately. So that's part of the reason. The other big issue is just the politics in general in America right now. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I haven't been afraid to create content that some people might consider controversial or discussing topics that aren't really covered in the news today. But to be honest with you, with all that going on and with all of the crackdowns, I'm a little afraid to do some of these videos in America at this point. I think it would be best for me to go and continue talking about what's happening in America right now, but to do it from a safe distance. So that is one of my goals and one of the reasons I'm moving. So I wanted to try to live a life that aligns with my values. And that is really the biggest reason I'm planning to move. I created this channel, The Renaissance Spirit, in 2023. But between my full-time job and doing YouTube videos, I haven't put a lot of the things into practice that I've discussed in my videos. I want to live a truly Renaissance life. And for me to be able to do that, I figured I had to be retired and only working on my YouTube channel to be able to go and devote the time and attention I want, not only to the channel, but to the things that I want to aspire to living a Renaissance spirit lifestyle. And if you haven't seen my video on what the Renaissance spirit is, the quiz, watch that next. There are so many things we could be doing with our lives, but we don't give ourselves the ability or are afforded the opportunity to make changes like this. And honestly, with everything happening, I figured I would regret not moving at this point and staying here and just things getting worse. If I stayed in America at this point, I think I would just shrivel up. I'm not happy, and I don't know how many people in America right now are happy. And that says quite a bit. I want a full life. I want a life where I can practice my beliefs. I want a life where I can expand into mind, body, soul. And with everything happening in America right now, I don't feel that this is the place to do it. I am an American. I will always be an American. I'm not giving up my citizenship. And I remember hearing when I was younger, if you don't like it here, leave. And basically that's what I'm doing. America has gotten really bad, and I feel that we're screwed, and we would be better off living a different lifestyle in a different country, many of us at least. That's not to say that I'm not a patriot. My definition of patriotism is supporting the ideals this country was founded on. And that includes things like immigration. That includes things like supporting democracy. That includes things like living civic life, civic virtue, virtuous life. And I don't think at this point that that's easy for most Americans to do. A lot of us are scared to even go to protests. And I completely appreciate that. I understand the sentiment. And I've been to a couple myself, and I've been concerned about what may happen. You hear of people being taken off into some detention facility. And these are Americans. This isn't the country I grew up in. And I only think it's going to get worse. But one of the other issues that I wanted to address was that not only is it patriotic to speak your mind with reason and compassion, and to let others know, and to share those thoughts, and collaborate and communicate. I don't see that happening as much in America today. A lot of us are just so focused on just trying to survive, just getting through the day, that we don't see everything else that's happening. A lot of Americans right now aren't watching the news. They don't know what is being done. They don't know what is being said. There is a cognitive dissonance in America, and that just means that people are just either ignoring or not facing what's really happening. And of course, there are many, many people like myself who are actively engaged with advocacy, with getting out there and voting, with protesting, with supporting volunteer organizations who need help more than ever, especially the local food banks. But there's enough willful ignorance in America right now that, honestly, I don't think things are going to change for the better anytime soon. And I know that sounds rash. I know that sounds harsh. But the problems we face in America today go above and beyond just the politics or an individual's quality of life. I believe at this point that our entire society and culture are in the midst of collapsing. We have separate and disparate social bubbles. We have the same for our social media. We have the same for our news. People aren't hearing the same conversations. They're not getting the same information. And that, I think, has a lot to do with what's happening in America right now. We gave up a lot of our freedoms for convenience, for comfort. And I think a lot of the things that we're facing right now are because of those issues. Just look at AI as an example. AI is growing exponentially, but at the same time, we as individuals and as a society haven't decided how we're going to face them. If we even understand what a lot of it is. The same with climate change. I think most Americans, from what I've heard on the news from statistics, do believe in climate change, but a majority don't know how to live a life that decreases their carbon footprint or how to advocate for the climate. And these are just a couple of examples of a myriad of issues. My mother died in 2023. She was released from a nursing home with pneumonia. They knew it. And the next day, we had to send her to the hospital for that pneumonia. 12 days later, she was dead. You have a whole healthcare industry who doesn't really care about the health of Americans. Nursing homes are notorious at bad treatment and elder abuse. Our whole customer service infrastructure in this country has gotten worse. People are working longer hours. Many have 2 or 3 jobs. It's no wonder that so many people don't have the time or attention or brain bandwidth to be able to deal with a lot of these issues. But because of my unique opportunity and my situation, I can, and I am. I'm single. I haven't had a relationship since before the pandemic. I've lost majority of my friends between my mom's health and basically just camping out at hospitals, or between the pandemic and some other health issues. I'm ready to get a fresh start, and that is the reason I'm moving to Albania. I'm going to go and talk a lot about these topics in further detail in future videos and break it down, and I have been doing that through a lot of my videos recently. What I'm trying to accomplish is not only to create a better life for myself, but come up with a blueprint and a plan that people and societies can follow. Hence, I created the Social Contract of the Commons. I highly recommend that video. It talks about a better way of life and different ways of thinking, and it comes down to this one point. None of us are an island. We all need and depend on each other as a society, both locally and globally. What happens here impacts people thousands of miles away, and vice versa. We need to start looking at the world through that lens. And we need to look at our lives through that lens. So please, I certainly recommend that video. And as I've said in my other video, When to Leave, which I think I published back in June of this year, I was talking about how things got really, really bad very, very quickly in the 1930s in Germany. I wasn't comparing America to the fascism of Nazi Germany, but I was comparing how things got manipulated. And I see a lot of those same currents today in America. So let me talk to you about why Albania in particular. And I'll start off with probably the most prescient of those issues. Albania is a country that has faced its own unique set of issues. They were part of former Yugoslavia. They went from being an authoritarian government to a democratic government in a span of less than 30 years. And at this point, they're trying to join the European Union. So with that accession process, they are coming into parity with a lot of the democratic norms of the European Union. And as that is happening, you have just the opposite as a contrast in America. America has been known for almost 250 years now as one of the most democratic nations in the world. Certainly the first modern nation state. But we see the writing on the wall. I don't think things are going to get better very quickly. I think because of the systemic and structural issues we face today, the individualism, the lack of cohesion as a nation are part of the issues. And let's just look at immigration as an example. My ancestors came to America, some of them as early as the 1630s, to Salem, Massachusetts, coming to America for a better life. We've forgotten that message, that lesson. We treat our immigrants today in America like they're unwanted, that they're a burden, that they're a nuisance, or even worse. People are afraid to come to America right now because of what's happening. And here I am doing the exact opposite. I am becoming an immigrant to another country, leaving America because I think I would have a better life there. And the immigration struggle, the idea of migration, is so important to humanity. We've all been part or players in that narrative story. Our ancestors came from Africa 100,000 years ago. Some of them stayed there. Some of them went all over the world. None of us, when you get down to it, are from anywhere in particular. If you do any DNA analysis, you'll see the ethnicities, and they keep changing because they need bigger, broader sampling sizes, because so many of us had relatives in different places. So it's hard to tell where we came from. We lost so much of that when our ancestors came over here because they didn't have that cohesion of society. They had to relate to people from different countries and different attitudes. So what we gained in one respect, we also lost in another. And until we start respecting humans, migrants, immigrants, people who are seeking asylum, for God's sakes, I don't think America is going to become what it was again. I hope I'm wrong. Time will prove it one way or the other. But why Albania in particular? So I give you one reason so far. Albania is one of the friendliest, most welcoming countries and peoples on the face of the earth. They have a mode of treating people, and they have one of the best hospitalities and natures when it comes to how they view people outside. I want that. I need that. Because I don't think we have it here in America right now. Sure, there are cliques and there are family and there are friends, but the idea of people just being friendly to a stranger from afar, I don't think that's as common as it used to be in America. And that's a shame. Other reasons for Albania. So besides the people, besides the fact that they are, as a comparison and contrast, moving more towards democracy while we are moving away from it in America currently, there's a lot of other reasons why I'm picking Albania. Probably the most important, other than the people, is it is a ally of America. We have very close relations, and because of that, you can move to Albania, stay there up to a year without even needing a visa. Now for me, what I'm going to be doing is, and I've already started this process, and I'm going to do videos on all of this to help people who are thinking about doing the same things that I am. Not necessarily as a how-to guide, because I don't want to get into that trap, but I will be doing videos on things like what I did. So hopefully that might help you if you end up deciding to move or just want to see what the process is in the first place. But they have a great quality of life and standard of living. Because they are a social democracy, they also have great health care that is accessible and affordable to citizens. I'm not going to be able to participate in that until I become a citizen, but I'm going through the process. And what I've done is I've applied for a unique permit, and what that means is it's just a consolidation of various documentation, paperwork, and process to be able to get my visa. Again, I don't need one unless I'm going to apply for citizenship, and that is my goal. So once I do that, then I can apply for my residency, and then after 5 to 7 years, I can become a full-fledged citizen. At which point, then I would be able to take advantage of the healthcare, as an example. So in the meantime, I'm just going to go and buy my own healthcare. I'm going to do one of those programs for getting sent back to America if necessary, but I'm also going to get local healthcare while I'm in country. There's a lot of changes I'm going to make to my life, pretty much everything. I'm going to live a Mediterranean lifestyle. I'm going to eat a Mediterranean diet. I am going to work out probably every day. I'm going to be doing a lot of walking, and I'm going to take you on these journeys with me if you are so inclined to watch. And I will continue to talk about my politics. I will continue to talk about the comparison contrast between a democracy who is coming into its full fruition and America. The other reason I picked Albania, it is so much cheaper than America. My rent here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is currently $12.75 a month. And that is currently on the low end of apartments. I have one bedroom. I will take you guys on a tour of everything once I get things cleaned out. As you can see, I have tons of boxes behind me, and I'm doing this video in 360 because I am actually expanding into 360 as well. I will be doing some virtual reality things soon. More information about that later. But I wanted to basically I wanted to start a new life. When I get older, like I said, I'm already 55 now, I want to be prepared for what happens next. I want to be able to create a life that I'm proud of, that helps my community. And in this case, it'll be in Toronto. I want to feel like I'm a part of something. And I don't feel that here in America. So I plan to go and make a lot of changes to my life when I move. It's not easy. Like I said, today was my first day of retirement. It's a combination of both 50% apprehension and 50% freedom. So just to explain my situation to you, because of the fact that I'm currently retired, I will be working on my YouTube channel full time. I will not be eligible for any type of job in Albania unless that company is willing to hire me as an American. So at this point, I'm basically living off of passive income. I'm going to be living off of my checking and savings accounts while I'm making money on my YouTube. Eventually, when I get to 59 and a half, I will start taking disbursements from my 401k. And then come 62, I will start getting disbursements from my Social Security. So that's my plan. I have a lot of things that I want to do with my channel. I've talked a little bit about that already. That will help me hopefully expand to new niches, as well as to use this as an opportunity to explore what it means to actually live the Renaissance spirit. Which again, I haven't really done because I've been working a full-time job, other commitments, and doing videos pretty much every day. Let me go back to my cheat sheet. I think I've covered a lot already, but... Okay, so the other thing I wanted to just mention about why Albania is a larger conversation, but I've always wanted to live in Europe. I've done a work abroad in London. I've done a study abroad in Liverpool. I was offered an opportunity to work at the State Department as an extern, which I declined. But I've been to Europe many, many times, and I know that as I get older, traveling, mobility, cost will be more of an issue. So it made sense for me to pick somewhere in Europe as my base of operations. I would much rather be able to go to Munich for the weekend than having to fly over for a week to be able to do something like going to Oktoberfest. So I'm looking at this from a very long-term standpoint. And because of my channel and the fact that I'm now going to be doing this full-time, I'm able to do things that I haven't done yet. I'm expanding into 360 videos. I started creating a room for my Curia in VR, which I wanted to have ready at this point, but honestly, with everything else, by the way, I didn't tell you, I'm leaving on the 5th of December. So I will be doing daily videos come then to explain what the process is like, how I find Albania, all the paperwork, living expenses, all of that. While continuing with my faceless videos, my explainer videos, my philosophy, my humanism, politics. So it's going to be, all my videos are currently related. This will also expand that niche. And I hope you appreciate and enjoy the addition of what's this guy doing? Why is he moving to Albania at 55? How is he able to retire? All of those questions. I hope you enjoy. But the other things I wanted to do was to discuss what it means to be a Renaissance spirit. And I need to convey that through action. I need to become my own brand ambassador, if you will. Because if I can't do this myself, how can I expect anyone else to grow, to learn, and to accept some of the lessons that I'm doing? There's a lot happening right now in America. There's a lot happening in Albania. There's a lot happening in the world right now. I am going to be your eyes and ears. I am going to chronicle this stage we're in America from afar, from the perspective of a patriot who believes in the Enlightenment, who believes in democracy, who believes in equality. I'm just going to do it from a little farther afield in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think of my ideas. And I will, as I said, go into more detail as time goes on, explaining a lot of this to make it easier for you to understand. And if you want to go and try to do the same thing. So thank you very much for watching. Take care. And God bless.